afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. I wanted to get on and just let you know that I've got a new blog post out. It's about, how to recover from being cheated on in a relationship. And so I invite you to go check that out. I've shared it on my Facebook feed, but also you can just hop over to asuggestionforyou.com to read it on my website if you like. There's also a booking link if you'd like to book and free consultation with me on my website, so you can just go on there. All kinds of great resources for you to find there. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is that although I think it's really, really important for you to do that work, to do the healing, I think you need to also keep in mind that if you're going to stay with someone who has betrayed you in this way and has caused this trauma in your relationship, then they also need to be willing to do the work. Because most people, and I'm assuming it's a one-off situation, this is not someone who's like a serial cheater, because if that's the case, then, all the therapy in the world might not make a difference if they don't look at cheating as being morally or, breaking some values that they have for themselves. So what often happens is that most people feel like it's morally wrong to cheat, right? Especially in a long-term relationship. So it can feel even more of a betrayal when someone that you feel like you've known, for a good long time. It would be like if my husband were to cheat. We've known each other for 31 years now. It would go against everything that I believed about him as a person if he were to cheat. And so I think that would make the betrayal even worse. But here's the thing. It would go against it wouldn't just be that, he's not the person I thought he was. It would be that he would be acting against his own morals and beliefs. And that would have to be dealt with in therapy, in his own individual therapy. Because in order to unpack that, you need to have someone to work with. And so I don't think it's fair for someone to cheat on someone and then just be like, sorry, I messed up, I'll never do it again, and expect that person to just take them at their word when we've seen them go against their own moral beliefs, right? It's really hard to believe that. So they need to go and do the work. If you've been cheated on and you're doing this work on yourself and for yourself, I think that benefit is going to be for your healing and possibly for your future relationships. If they're not willing to do the work themselves, then maybe they don't get to be around that healed version of you. So that, they broke you, they're not willing to do the work themselves, and then they get this healed version of you back, and there's no reassurances for you that they're not going to do it again. So are you fully healed? Can you be fully healed if you're constantly worried and wondering if something else will cause them to go against their own morals and beliefs again, right? If maybe those feelings, whatever they were feeling that was being triggered inside of them to go outside of the relationship, maybe the circumstances in the future would be different, but the triggered feelings would be, and therefore there's a potential for, cheating again, right? So how do we know? How can we know if that person has really, really done the work? I think when they have recognized where they were in their head, when they've gotten some help to figure out what was actually being triggered for them, and how would they navigate that in the future. So if part of the reason why they justified cheating was that they were feeling neglected, emotionally or sexually or whatever, realistically in a long-term relationship, there are going to be times when your needs aren't going to get met, and it might be outside of the control of your partner, right? So we've talked about all the different reasons why sexual intimacy can be there can be barriers to that, right? There's lots of times when people are going through their own stuff and they're doing their work and they're, going through an emotionally hard time, and maybe they're not as receptive to their partner as they normally would be, or whatever. Maybe life is just throwing a lot of stuff their way, which is kind of causing that drift or the disconnection. How will they then behave in the future if those things come up again? Because inevitably, they probably will, right? How will you know, as the person who's been cheated on, that they're not going to just slide back into that kind of behavior, or that they won't be tempted to go down that path again? I think the only way you'll know that is for you to really recognize that they've done a lot of work on themselves, they've gained a better understanding of who they are, and they've recommitted fully to the relationship, and they also are willing and able to recognize that sometimes their needs aren't going to be met in certain ways, but together, working as a couple, you can figure out ways to not go down that path again. And if you see that growth in that person and you're willing to give them that chance, then that's beautiful. I think that's really what the hope is that, if the work is done, then you can come back together and maybe not recreate what you had, but create something new based on this new understanding that you each have about yourselves and about your relationship dynamic, right? I do totally think that that's possible. But what I see happening a lot of times is the person who's been cheated on does all the work to repair and heal from the betrayal and hurt that's been done to them, while their partner just, might say the right words and might even behave in certain ways that would make it easier for you to move past certain things, but without having done any real work on unpacking their issues. It's really hard for the person who's been cheated on to fully believe and be open and vulnerable again in the same way, right? There's that lack of safety in the relationship now. So that needs to be addressed. So I invite you to go check out the blog, go check out my website, and of course check out all my stuff on YouTube and TikTok and stuff, and then get back to me and let me know what you think about it all. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day. Namaste.